The news alert came at 3:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every phone on Earth buzzed at once. Every television screen cut to emergency broadcasts. Every radio station interrupted its programming with the same message. The President of the United States, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and leaders from every major nation appeared on split screens across the world. Ambassador Velkoth of the Calthrex Dominion had requested airtime. He said he had an important announcement for humanity. The world held its breath. For 6 months, Earth had been in contact with an alien civilization. It was the greatest moment in human history. Schools taught special lessons about the Calthrex. Children drew pictures of the tall, elegant aliens with their purple skin and 4 arms. Scientists shared research data. Diplomats discussed trade agreements. Everything had been peaceful. Everything had been hopeful. The Calthrex seemed friendly. They shared stories of their empire spanning 12 star systems. They spoke of art and culture. They promised to guide humanity into the greater galactic community. Earth had finally found friends among the stars. Ambassador Velkoth appeared on screen. His face was different now. The friendly expression was gone. His 4 eyes held something cold, something cruel. Behind him stood other Calthrex in dark armor. The pleasant meeting room was replaced by what looked like a military command center. "Humans of Earth," he said in perfect English. His voice had lost its warmth. "We thank you for your hospitality these past months. You have shown us your world. You have shared your culture. You have revealed your weaknesses. And now we will demonstrate the price of your primitive nature." The screen split. New images appeared. The International Space Station floated peacefully in orbit. The view showed the cupola window where astronauts loved to watch Earth below. Inside, men and women from 15 nations worked together. They were humanity's best and brightest. Scientists, engineers, dreamers who had dedicated their lives to exploring the stars. Then the Calthrex warships appeared. Massive vessels that had been hiding on the dark side of the moon. They moved with terrible purpose. The astronauts inside the station saw them coming. Some tried to radio Earth, others ran to the escape pods. But it was too late. The weapons fired. Beams of blue light cut through the station like it was paper. The screen showed it all in horrible detail. The station broke apart. Air rushed out into space. The astronauts died instantly. 17 souls lost in seconds. Earth watched. The world could do nothing but watch. But the Calthrex were not finished. The screen changed again. This time it showed the lunar colony Armstrong Base. 3,000 people lived there. Scientists studying the moon's resources. Engineers building humanity's first permanent off-world settlement. Families who had moved to the moon to start a new chapter in human history. Children who had been born there, the first generation of moon-born humans. The Calthrex fleet descended on the base. This time they did not use their weapons from orbit. They landed. They sent soldiers in armor. The broadcast showed everything. Civilians trying to hide. Security guards fighting with whatever they could find. The Calthrex soldiers moved through the base methodically, efficiently. They went room by room. Habitat by habitat. They killed everyone, men, women, children. No one was spared. It took 4 hours. Earth watched every minute. News anchors wept on live television. World leaders tried to establish communication with the Calthrex fleet. Every message was ignored. The aliens wanted Earth to watch. They wanted humanity to understand its helplessness. The screen split again. Mars colony appeared. The red planet had been humanity's greatest achievement. 15,000 people lived in the domed cities. They were terraforming Mars, slowly, carefully, making it a second home for humanity. The colony had farms under massive greenhouses, schools, hospitals, parks, where children played in the reduced gravity. The Calthrex fleet was already there, waiting. When the lunar base fell silent, they struck. The domes shattered under bombardment. The thin Martian atmosphere rushed in. People died by the thousands. Some suffocated when their sections lost pressure. Others froze in the -60-degree cold. The Calthrex broadcast it all. They wanted Earth to see the bodies. The frozen children. The families who died holding each other. 7 million humans died that day. 7 million lives ended while billions watched. The Calthrex made it entertainment. They added commentary describing their efficiency. They showed statistics of their kill counts. They laughed. Ambassador Velkoth returned to the screen when it was over. "This is what happens to vermin who think they deserve a place among the stars," he said. His 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Your species is a plague. You breed too quickly. You consume resources. You fight among yourselves. You are primitive, disgusting, weak. We have watched you for 6 months. We know everything about you. Your technology is childish. Your weapons are toys. Your unity is a lie." He paused. Let the words sink in. Let Earth feel its powerlessness. "You have 30 days. Surrender your world to the Calthrex dominion. Submit to our rule. Accept your place as a slave species. Or we will return. We will destroy your cities one by one. We will broadcast each death. Each city will burn while you watch. Beijing, Delhi, Tokyo, New York, London, all of them. Everyone. We will make Earth a memorial to the price of defiance." The broadcast ended. Every screen went dark. The world fell into stunned silence. In homes across Earth, people sat frozen. Parents held their children. The elderly wept for the future that would never come. Young people who had dreamed of exploring the stars now stared at screens showing the bodies floating in space. But the silence did not last. In Moscow, an old general stood from his chair. His hands shook with rage. In Washington, the president slammed her fist on the table. In Beijing, military commanders looked at each other with cold understanding. In Mumbai, scientists stopped crying and started calculating. In Seoul, engineers pulled up blueprints for weapons systems. In Tel Aviv, strategists began making plans. The Calthrex had made a mistake. They had studied humanity for 6 months. They had learned about human art, human music, human diplomacy, human culture, but they had not studied human history. They did not understand what humans became when cornered. They did not know about the wars, the conflicts, the terrible weapons humans had built to fight each other. They saw a divided species, but they did not see that nothing unites humans faster than a common enemy. Within hours, the United Nations Security Council held an emergency session. For the first time in history, every nation voted the same way. Unanimous: Russia and America, China and Japan, India and Pakistan, Israel and Palestine, North Korea and South Korea. Nations that had been enemies for generations. All of them agreed. The resolution was simple: one word. One concept that humans understood better than any other species in the galaxy: war. The vote passed. Military bases around the world received the same order. Total mobilization: every soldier, every pilot, every sailor, every resource, every factory, every laboratory. The entire species focused on one goal: survival, revenge, victory. In orbit above Earth, the Calthrex fleet settled into position. Their ships formed a blockade. They expected Earth to panic, to riot, to tear itself apart. They expected humanity to beg for mercy, to offer anything to avoid more death. 30 days. That was all the time the Calthrex had given. They were confident. Why would they not be? They had superior technology, faster ships, better weapons. They had destroyed Earth's off-world colonies without taking a single casualty. Humans were no threat. But the Calthrex did not know about NORAD, the massive military complex buried deep in a Colorado mountain. They did not know about the similar facilities under the Ural Mountains, or beneath the Himalayas, or hidden in the Australian outback, facilities that had been built during the Cold War, designed to survive nuclear war, equipped with weapon systems that could end human civilization 3 times over. The Calthrex did not know about Project Damocles, the secret program that had been running for 50 years. Ever since the first UFO crashes in the 1940s, humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology. Not Calthrex technology, something older, something found in crashed ships that had been hidden in hangar bays and underground laboratories. Technology that world governments had kept secret even from their own people. The 30-day countdown began. On the surface, Earth appeared to descend into chaos, protests, riots. The news showed humans fighting each other, looting, panic. The Calthrex watched from orbit and felt satisfied. This was what they expected: primitive creatures destroying themselves. But beneath the chaos, humanity worked. Factories that had built cars now built weapons. Scientists who had studied medicine now studied ways to kill. Engineers who had designed bridges now designed instruments of war. The chaos was theater, a performance for alien eyes. While the Calthrex watched the surface, humanity prepared in secret. In the NORAD command center, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display. She was 53 years old, a career officer. She had commanded carrier groups, led peacekeeping missions, negotiated treaties. But now she had one job, one purpose. She was the supreme commander of Earth's defense. Every military asset on the planet answered to her. Every weapon, every soldier, every secret project status report, she said. Her voice was calm, cold. The voice of someone who had made peace with what needed to be done. Around her, officers worked at stations. Screens showed data streaming in from around the world. Satellite feeds, radar, intelligence reports. A young lieutenant looked up. All systems are online, Admiral. Project Damocles is ready. The kinetic satellites are in position. EMP weapons are charged. Our stealth shuttles have rescued the ISS survivors. Nuclear arsenal is armed and ready. The civilian evacuation of coastal cities is 90% complete. Our allies report similar readiness, Chen nodded. She looked at the display showing the Calthrex fleet. 47 ships, each one the size of an aircraft carrier, each one capable of destroying a city in minutes. They floated in orbit like predators waiting for prey to die. Confident, arrogant, they thought they had already won. Open a channel, Chen said. All frequencies. I want the Calthrex to hear this. I want the world to hear this. The lieutenant worked quickly. Channel open, Admiral. You're broadcasting on every frequency. Earth, the Calthrex fleet, everything. Chen looked at the camera. Her face appeared on screens around the world. In homes, in bunkers, on phones. Even on the Calthrex command ship, Ambassador Velkoth saw her face appear. He smiled. This would be the surrender. The begging. The humans would offer anything to save their pathetic world. But Chen did not beg. She did not plead. She simply looked into the camera and spoke. Ambassador Velkoth, you said you studied us for 6 months. You learned about our art, our music, our culture. You learned about our diplomacy, our desire for peace, our hope for the future. But you never asked about our history. You never studied our wars. You never learned what humans become when someone threatens our children, when someone kills our families, when someone tries to make us slaves. She paused, let the words hang in the air. You wanted to teach us about power. You wanted to show us our place in the universe. You wanted us to fear you. Well, class is in session, and you are about to learn what happens when you make humanity angry. The transmission ended. On the Calthrex command ship, Velkoth laughed. Empty threats from a dying species. What could these primitive creatures do? Their technology was centuries behind. Their weapons were toys. Earth would burn. The humans would die. And the Calthrex would take the resources they needed. But in the NORAD command center, Admiral Chen was not making threats. She was making promises. She turned to her officers. Her expression was ice. Begin Operation Reckoning. Show them what humans do to anyone who hurts our children. Around the world, humanity prepared. The 30 days were over. The Calthrex had issued their ultimatum. Now Earth would give its answer. Not with words, not with diplomacy, but with fury, with violence, with the full weight of human rage focused on a single purpose. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They had thought humans were prey. They were about to learn that humans were something far more dangerous. They were survivors. They were warriors. They were the species that had climbed from caves to stars despite every obstacle, despite disease, despite war, despite themselves. And now, with everything they loved threatened, humanity would show the galaxy what that really meant. The Calthrex fleet hung in Earth's orbit like vultures circling a corpse. Ambassador Velkoth sat in his command chair watching the planet below. He could see the lights of cities, billions of humans going about their pathetic lives. In a few hours, those lights would begin going dark. One city at a time. The deadline had passed. The humans had not surrendered. So now they would die. It would be beautiful, educational. The galaxy would learn what happened to species that defied the Calthrex dominion. His tactical officer approached. Ambassador, we are detecting unusual activity, satellite movements, energy signatures from the planet's surface. Should we investigate? Velkoth waved a dismissive hand. Let them scramble. Let them panic. It changes nothing. Begin targeting the first city, Beijing. 3 billion people in the region. Let us see how defiant they remain when they watch their capital burn. But 2,000 kilometers below the command ship, deep inside Cheyenne Mountain, Admiral Chen watched different screens. Her command center hummed with activity. Officers called out status reports. Technicians verified systems. Weapons specialists armed payloads. This was not panic. This was precision. The culmination of 70 years of secret preparation. General Marcus Williams stood beside her. He was 72 years old, a veteran of every conflict for the past 50 years. He had been part of Project Damocles since its inception. Now he would see it used. All assets report ready, Admiral. Project Damocles satellites are active. EMP weapons are charged. Nuclear arsenal is armed. Our allies confirm readiness. Russia, China, India, Europe, everyone. We are go for Operation Reckoning. Chen nodded slowly. She thought about the 7 million dead. The children who died on Mars. The families killed on the moon. The astronauts murdered on the space station. She thought about every human who had died while the world watched helplessly. This was for them. This was for everyone who the Calthrex thought were weak, primitive, vermin. General Williams, she said quietly. Tell me about Project Damocles. The real story, not the sanitized version we tell politicians. Williams looked at the holographic display showing the alien fleet. It started in 1947, Roswell. You know that story. What you do not know is that the crash was not an accident. Something shot that ship down. We found the wreckage. 3 bodies. Technology we could not understand. President Truman ordered it classified. Top secret. Above top secret. But we studied it. Took us decades to figure out the basics. The propulsion system. The weapons. The materials. He pulled up files on a nearby screen, blueprints, technical specifications, test results. We built prototypes in the 1970s. They failed. Exploded mostly. Killed 300 scientists. But we learned. By the 1990s, we had functioning systems. Nothing like the original. Crude copies. But they worked. We disguised them as regular satellites. Space debris. The Calthrex scanned Earth for 6 months. They found our nuclear weapons, our conventional military, but they never found these, because they were not looking for their own technology. Chen studied the display. Hundreds of dots surrounded Earth, each one a satellite, each one disguised as junk. Space trash, broken equipment, old rocket stages. But each one contained a kinetic kill vehicle, a weapon that could accelerate to a fraction of light speed, weapons designed to destroy ships traveling faster than any human vessel. The Calthrex have shields, Williams continued, energy shields, designed to stop lasers, plasma weapons, particle beams, all the standard weapons that advanced civilizations use. But kinetic weapons, mass accelerated to extreme velocity, their shields were not designed for that. We tested it, not on their ships, obviously, but we ran simulations based on the technology we found in Roswell. The math works. Their shields will fail. Chen pulled up another display. This one showed massive installations on the planet's surface, hidden facilities in mountains, underground bunkers, research stations disguised as power plants. And the EMP weapons? Electromagnetic pulse weapons, Williams said, based on our nuclear research from the Cold War, but enhanced, modified using alien technology. When we detonate them, they will create a pulse that cascades through anything with organic circuitry. The Calthrex use biological technology. Living ships. Their systems are partially organic. More efficient than pure machines, they claimed. But that makes them vulnerable. Our EMP will propagate through their networks like a virus. It will shut down their power, their weapons, their life support, everything. They will not see it coming, Chen said. It was not a question. It was a statement of fact. No, Williams agreed. They studied us for 6 months. They learned about human culture, human art, human diplomacy, but they never studied our military history. They never asked themselves why a species that only reached space 70 years ago has weapons that could destroy their own planet. They never wondered why we built thousands of nuclear weapons during the Cold War. They think we are primitive, backwards, weak. He smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a terrible secret. They do not understand that humans are not primitive because we lack technology. We are experienced because we have spent 10,000 years finding better ways to kill each other. Every war taught us lessons. Every conflict showed us new tactics. We perfected the art of destruction. And now they get to learn what we learned. The hard way. Chen turned to face the room. Every officer was watching her, waiting for the order. These men and women represented every nation on Earth. Russians worked beside Americans. Chinese officers coordinated with Japanese commanders. Indians and Pakistanis shared data. Israelis and Palestinians planned together. The old hatreds had not disappeared. They had been focused, redirected. Humanity had found something it hated more than itself. Communications, Chen said. Open channels to all Allied command centers: Moscow, Beijing, Delhi, Brussels, Tokyo, Brasilia, Cairo, Sydney. I want everyone online. Screens flickered to life. Faces appeared: generals, admirals, ministers of defense, the leaders of Earth's military forces, all of them waiting for the same thing. The order to begin. The permission to unleash everything humanity had built. This is Admiral Sarah Chen, Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, she said. Her voice was steady, clear, every word carefully chosen. In 6 hours, the Calthrex will begin their attack. They think we are defeated. They think we will beg. They think we will die quietly. They are wrong. Today we show them what humans really are. Today we show the galaxy that Earth does not surrender. We do not bow. We do not forgive. She paused. Let the words sink in. On screens around the world, people watched. In bunkers and shelters, families held each other. In military bases, soldiers prepared for whatever came next. Everyone knew what was about to happen. Everyone understood that this was the moment. The hinge of human history. Either humanity would win and earn its place among the stars, or humanity would die fighting. 7 million of our people died. Chen continued. 7 million humans murdered while we watched. Children, parents, scientists, dreamers. People who wanted nothing but to explore. To learn, to build a better future. The Calthrex killed them to prove a point. To show us we were weak. To teach us our place. Well, they taught us something. They taught us that the universe is not kind. That peace requires strength. That sometimes you have to fight. On the Calthrex command ship, Velkoth was growing impatient. The humans were taking too long to die. Status on weapon systems. He demanded. Charged and ready, Ambassador. We can begin firing at any moment. Beijing is targeted. Shall we proceed? Yes, Velkoth said. Let us remind these creatures of their mortality. Fire. But before the weapons could discharge, alarms blared across the Calthrex fleet. Every ship simultaneously detected threats. Hundreds of threats. Thousands of threats. Objects accelerating from Earth orbit. Moving at impossible speeds. The tactical computers scrambled to calculate trajectories. To identify targets. But there were too many. Coming from every direction. What is happening? Velkoth shouted. Where did these come from? Unknown, Ambassador. They were hidden. Disguised as debris. Our sensors classified them as non-threats. But they are active now. Moving at 0.03 light speed. Impact in 30 seconds. Raise shields.
Full power!
Evasive maneuvers. The Calthrex ships tried to respond. Their organic systems flooded with power. Shields activated. Engines burned. But they were too slow. The kinetic kill vehicles hit like hammers of God. Chunks of metal the size of cars traveling at 3% of light speed. Each one carrying more kinetic energy than a nuclear bomb. The shields held for microseconds. Then they failed. The projectiles punched through like bullets through paper. They tore through halls, through corridors, through crew quarters, through everything. Ships that had traveled between stars for centuries died in seconds. Explosions bloomed across the fleet. Atmosphere vented into space. Bodies tumbled into the void. In the NORAD command center, officers watched the tactical display. Green dots representing kinetic weapons intersected with red dots representing Calthrex ships. Where they touched, the red dots disappeared. First 5 ships, then 10, then 20. The outer edge of the alien fleet simply ceased to exist. Phase 1 successful, General Williams reported. Outer fleet destroyed. 23 ships eliminated. 24 remaining. They are attempting to regroup. Begin Phase 2, Chen ordered. EMP weapons now. On Earth's surface, hidden facilities activated. Massive weapons that humans had built during the darkest days of the Cold War. Weapons designed to destroy entire continents. But now they had a different purpose. The weapons fired, not explosive payloads, not nuclear warheads, but pure electromagnetic energy. The pulse surged outward, invisible, silent, deadly. It hit the remaining Calthrex ships like a wave. Their organic systems had evolved to resist radiation. to survive in deep space, to handle the stress of faster-than-light travel. But they had never encountered anything like this. The EMP cascaded through their biological networks. It overwhelmed their systems, fried their organic computers, shut down their power cores. Lights went dark across the fleet. Life support failed. Gravity generators stopped. The Calthrex crew found themselves floating in the dark. Emergency systems tried to activate. They failed. Backup systems failed. Everything failed. Their ships had become coffins drifting in orbit. On the command ship, Velkoth struggled in zero gravity. Emergency lighting provided a dim red glow. His crew floated around him. Some were injured. Others were panicking. The confident warriors who had destroyed human colonies were now helpless. "Get systems online," he screamed. "Do something." But there was nothing to do. The organic systems were dead. The ships were dead. And more threats were coming. The tactical officer who had survived pointed at a screen that still worked on battery power. It showed hundreds of new contacts, ships, human ships, crude, simple but armed. "And moving fast," report, Chen said calmly. The chaos of battle had begun, but she remained focused, steady. This was what she had trained for her entire career. This was what humanity had prepared for since the moment they looked up at the stars and wondered what else was out there. "EMP successful," Williams reported. "All Calthrex ships are dark. No power signatures. No weapons. No shields. They are helpless. Phase 3 forces are launching now. Phase 3. The final phase. The human counterattack. For 30 days humanity had been building, retrofitting, converting every available spacecraft into a weapon. Commercial satellites equipped with missiles. Old space shuttles armed with nuclear warheads. Military spacecraft that had been hidden for decades. Even the ISS survivors who had been rescued by stealth shuttles had volunteered. They piloted ships now. Ships loaded with every weapon humanity could pack into them. The launch sites were everywhere. Kourou, Baikonur, Kennedy, Juquan, Tanegashima, Sriharikota, Wallops, every space agency on Earth, every rocket, every missile, all of them launching at once. The sky filled with fire as hundreds of rockets climbed toward orbit, toward the dying Calthrex fleet, toward revenge. Lieutenant Maria Santos strapped into her cockpit. She was 32 years old. A fighter pilot. Top of her class. But her real qualification was different. She had family on Mars, parents, 2 brothers, a sister, nieces and nephews. They had all died when the Calthrex attacked. She had watched them die on television, watched the dome shatter, watched the atmosphere rush out, watched the bodies freeze. Now she was going to make the Calthrex pay. Her ship was not sophisticated. It was a modified cargo shuttle with nuclear missiles strapped to the sides. But it could fly. It could fight. And it could kill. That was enough. "All craft, this is Flight Command," a voice said over the radio. "You are cleared for launch. Your targets are designated. Remember, these are not ships anymore. They are tombs. You are the pallbearers. Make them count." Santos felt the rockets ignite, felt the crushing acceleration as her ship climbed, felt the atmosphere thin and disappear. She had been to space before, but never like this. Never going to war. She checked her weapons. 6 nuclear warheads, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. Each one targeted at a different Calthrex ship. She would not need all 6. But she wanted them. Just in case, Commander Yuki Tanaka flew beside her, another volunteer, another person with nothing left to lose. His daughter had been on the International Space Station. She was 7 years old. She loved space, loved the stars. She had drawn pictures of aliens, friendly aliens, aliens who wanted to be friends. The Calthrex had killed her first, targeted the children's quarters specifically. Tanaka had watched his daughter die, had heard her last words over the radio, heard her crying for her daddy. He did not cry anymore. He had cried enough. Now he only felt cold. His ship carried conventional missiles, hundreds of them, small, fast, designed to overwhelm point defense systems. But the Calthrex had no point defense anymore. No shields, no weapons. They were just targets. The human fleet reached orbit. Hundreds of ships, each one crewed by volunteers, each one carrying death. They spread out, each ship selecting a target. The Calthrex vessels floated helplessly, dark, silent, waiting for the end. In the command center, Chen watched the tactical display. Every green dot represented a human ship. Every red dot represented a Calthrex vessel. The green dots moved with purpose, with precision. They did not hesitate. They did not falter. They simply moved into position and waited for the order. "All units report ready," an officer said. "Weapons locked." "Awaiting your command, Admiral." Chen looked at the screen. She thought about the 7 million dead. She thought about the families torn apart, the dreams destroyed, the future stolen. She thought about the Calthrex ambassador laughing, mocking human weakness, calling them vermin, threatening to destroy Earth city by city while everyone watched. She picked up the microphone. When she spoke, her voice went to every human ship in orbit, every pilot, every volunteer, every person who had lost someone they loved. "This is Admiral Chen. You know what they did. You know who we lost. Now show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Show them what happens when you kill our children. Fire." And the sky burned. Lieutenant Maria Santos lined up her first target, the Calthrex battlecruiser that had led the assault on Mars. She knew because intelligence had identified it from the broadcast footage. This ship had fired the first shots, had shattered the domes, had killed 15,000 people, including her entire family. Now it floated dark and dead in orbit. But dead was not enough. Santos wanted it erased, removed from existence, made into a warning that would echo across the galaxy. Her fingers moved across the targeting controls. Lock acquired, distance calculated, trajectory plotted. The nuclear warhead was armed and ready. She thought about her mother, a botanist who had been growing the first trees in Martian soil. Her father, an engineer who had designed the life support systems that kept the colony alive until the Calthrex destroyed them. Her brothers who had been teachers. Her sister who had been a doctor. Her nieces and nephews who had been children. Just children. "This is for Mars," she whispered. Then she pressed the launch button. The missile detached from her ship. Its engine ignited. It streaked toward the Calthrex battlecruiser. 5 seconds of flight time. 4, 3, 2, 1. Impact. The nuclear warhead detonated. A miniature sun bloomed in space. The explosion tore through the dead ship. Metal vaporized. Corridors collapsed. The ship broke in half. Both pieces tumbled away, trailing debris and bodies. But Santos was not finished. She had 5 more warheads. 5 more targets. She moved to the next ship. And the next? Each one received the same treatment. Each one died the same way, quickly, efficiently, without mercy. Because the Calthrex had shown no mercy to Mars. They had killed civilians, families, children. They had made it entertainment. So Santos made their deaths functional, mathematical. Cold Commander Yuki Tanaka was fighting his own battle. His ship danced through the orbital debris field, moving fast, changing direction constantly, using tactics that fighter pilots had developed over 100 years of air combat. The Calthrex could not respond. Their ships were dead. But Tanaka flew like they were still dangerous, like they might wake up at any moment. Old instincts. Good instincts. He targeted the command ship. The vessel where Ambassador Velkoth had made his broadcast, where the alien leader had laughed at human weakness, where they had planned the murder of 7 million people. Tanaka could see it through his cockpit window. Massive, dark, silent. Somewhere inside that ship, Velkoth was floating in zero gravity, probably scared, probably begging his crew to fix the systems, to get weapons online, to do something. Tanaka selected his entire payload. 300 missiles. All of them. He wanted this ship to understand, to know what was coming, to feel the fear that his daughter had felt. "This is for every child you murdered," he said. "This is for my daughter. This is for everyone who will never see their families again. This is from Earth." With hate, he fired. 300 missiles launched in a wave. They spread out, surrounded the command ship. Then they struck. Not all at once. In sequence, one after another. Each explosion tearing into the hull. Each impact weakening the structure. The ship lasted 30 seconds under the assault. Then it broke. Not cleanly. It shattered. Pieces flew in every direction. Some pieces were large sections of hull, some were small fragments, some were bodies. On the NORAD command center screens, the tactical display showed the battle in real time. Red dots disappeared one by one. Calthrex ships dying under human weapons. Each death was confirmed, verified, recorded. This was not just war. This was documentation. Evidence that humanity had fought back. Proof that Earth would not submit, would not surrender, would not forgive. Status report, Admiral Chen requested. Her voice remained calm despite everything happening in orbit. Despite watching hundreds of human pilots risk their lives. Despite knowing that some of them would not return. War was never clean, never simple. People died even in victory. 47 Calthrex ships engaged, General Williams reported. 38 confirmed destroyed. 6 heavily damaged in venting atmosphere. 3 attempting to restore power. Human forces report no casualties yet. All systems operating within parameters. The enemy cannot fight back. This is not a battle. This is an execution. Good, Chen said flatly. That is the point. They wanted to execute us. Now we execute them. Continue operations until every enemy vessel is neutralized. No survivors, no escape, no mercy. The words felt heavy. Chen was not a cruel person. She had spent her career trying to prevent wars, trying to find diplomatic solutions, trying to save lives. But the Calthrex had made diplomacy impossible. They had killed 7 million humans while the world watched. They had threatened to destroy Earth city by city. They had given humanity no choice. So humanity had made a choice. The only choice possible. Fight or die. And humans had never been good at dying quietly. In orbit, the battle continued. Human ships moved with purpose. Some were military vessels that had been in service for decades. Others were commercial spacecraft hastily armed. Some were experimental prototypes that had never been meant for combat. But all of them fought. All of them carried humans who had lost someone, who had watched friends or family die, who had decided that revenge was worth dying for. Dr. James Morrison coordinated the attack from a monitoring station. He was not a soldier. He was a physicist, a mathematician. But his calculations had made this possible. He had designed the EMP weapons, had modified the nuclear warheads for space combat, had plotted the trajectories that let kinetic weapons hit moving targets. His work had turned Earth's desperate defense into an overwhelming assault. Now he watched the results. Numbers scrolled across his screens. Energy readings, impact calculations, damage assessments. To him, it was all mathematics. Beautiful mathematics, the kind that solved impossible problems. But he knew what those numbers meant. Each calculation represented a dead ship, dead aliens, revenge for the dead humans. His wife had died on the moon. His son had died on Mars. His mathematics was personal. We are receiving transmissions from the surviving Calthrex ships, a communications officer reported. They are attempting to surrender. The command center fell silent. Everyone looked at Admiral Chen. This was the moment that defined everything. The Calthrex were offering surrender. They wanted mercy. They wanted to live. But they had not offered mercy to the 7 million humans they murdered. They had not accepted surrender from the lunar colony. They had killed everyone, men, women, children, made it a show, made Earth watch. And now they wanted mercy? Chen considered. She thought about what she wanted to do versus what she should do, what humanity needed versus what the dead deserved. It would be easy to refuse, to order the complete destruction of the fleet, to make sure no Calthrex survived, to send a message that you do not attack Earth and live. But that was not who humans were. That was what the Calthrex were. Humans could be better, had to be better, or they were no different than the monsters they fought. But Chen also understood reality. The Calthrex had come here expecting easy prey. They had learned otherwise. But if even one ship escaped, if even one alien returned to their empire and told them that humans were weak, that Earth could be conquered with enough force, then this would happen again. The Calthrex would return, or another species would try, and next time humanity might not be ready. Next time Earth might actually fall. Open a channel, Chen ordered. All frequencies. I want the Calthrex to hear this. I want our forces to hear this. I want everyone to understand. The channel opened. Chen spoke clearly, slowly, every word chosen carefully. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Forces. To the Calthrex fleet, you came to our world in peace. We welcomed you. We shared our culture, our knowledge, our friendship. You responded by murdering 7 million humans. You broadcast their deaths as entertainment. You laughed. You threatened to destroy our entire species. You called us vermin, primitive, weak. She paused. Let the words echo across space. On the surviving Calthrex ships, the crew listened. They knew what was coming. They had heard these speeches before, from other species they had conquered, other civilizations they had destroyed. The speeches always ended the same way, with death, with extinction, with silence. You expected us to surrender, Chen continued, to beg, to die quietly. You were wrong. We fought and we won. Your fleet is destroyed. Your forces are dead or dying. You have lost, completely, totally, and now you ask for mercy. You ask us to be better than you were, to spare your lives when you spared no one, to show compassion when you showed only cruelty. Another pause. Chen could see the tactical display, the remaining Calthrex ships, 3 of them. Badly damaged, drifting, helpless. It would be so easy to destroy them. One command. 3 ships gone, no witnesses, no survivors. A complete victory. Here is Earth's answer, Chen said. We are not you. We do not murder prisoners. We do not kill the helpless. We do not broadcast executions as entertainment. We are human, and that means something. Your surviving ships have 2 options. Option 1, surrender unconditionally. Power down all systems. Submit to boarding. Your crew will be taken as prisoners of war and treated according to international law. They will receive medical care, food, water. They will live. Eventually, when your empire understands what happened here, they will be returned. She let that sink in. Mercy. Humanity was offering mercy. After everything the Calthrex had done, Earth was offering survival. Some of the human officers looked shocked. Others looked angry. But they said nothing. Chen was in command. Her decision was final. Option 2, Chen said, her voice hardening. Refuse surrender. Attempt to escape. Attempt to fight. If you choose this option, we will destroy you. Completely, without hesitation. Without mercy. You have 5 minutes to decide. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. The command center remained quiet. Officers watched their screens, tracking the 3 surviving ships, waiting to see what the Calthrex would do. Would they surrender? Would they try to run? Would they choose death over capture? Admiral, General Williams said quietly, some of our pilots are requesting permission to ignore any surrender. They want to finish this, all of it. They lost family, friends, they want revenge. Chen understood. She felt the same way. Part of her wanted to order the destruction of every Calthrex ship, to make sure none of them survived, to send a message so clear that no species would ever threaten Earth again. But she also understood the consequences. If humanity became the monsters, if they killed prisoners, if they showed no mercy, then they became no different than the Calthrex. And Earth deserved better. The dead deserved better. Tell them no, Chen ordered. If the Calthrex surrender, we accept it. If they resist, we destroy them. But we do not execute prisoners. We are not them. We will never be them. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us worth defending. 2 minutes passed. Then 3. The Calthrex ships remained silent. No communications. No movement. Just drifting in the debris field that had been their fleet. Maybe they were arguing. Maybe they were preparing to run. Maybe they were already dead from life support failure. 4 minutes. Lieutenant Santos positioned her ship for a final attack run. Commander Tanaka reloaded his missile systems. Both of them waited for the order. Ready to finish what they started. Ready to make the Calthrex pay for every human death, but also ready to stand down if ordered. Because they were soldiers, and soldiers followed orders. Even when those orders hurt. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. A transmission came through. Weak, barely readable, but clear enough. This is the Calthrex vessel Honor of the Dominion. We surrender. Unconditionally, our systems are down. We have wounded. We request medical assistance. We accept your terms. Then another transmission. This is the Calthrex vessel Swift Justice. We also surrender. We have casualties. We accept your terms. And a third. This is the Calthrex vessel Eternal Glory. We surrender. We accept your terms. 3 ships. 3 crews. Probably 500 aliens total. Out of the 10,000 that had come to conquer Earth. 95% casualties. The Calthrex fleet had been annihilated. The survivors were broken, defeated, scared. They had come expecting easy prey. They had found apex predators instead. All units, this is Admiral Chen, she broadcast. The Calthrex have surrendered. Stand down from attack operations. Begin recovery procedures. Medical teams, prepare for wounded prisoners. Security forces, prepare for boarding operations. Everyone else stand by for further orders. This battle is over. Earth has won. The command center erupted in cheers. Officers hugged each other. Some wept with relief. Others simply sat down exhausted. The battle had lasted 6 hours. 6 hours of constant action, of death and destruction, of revenge and justice. 6 hours that had changed everything. Earth had been attacked by a superior force. And Earth had won, but Chen did not cheer. She looked at the tactical display showing the debris field. Hundreds of pieces of destroyed ships, thousands of dead aliens, and somewhere among that debris, pieces of the 7 million humans who had died, the space station, the lunar colony, the Mars settlement. Those deaths had started this, and nothing would bring them back. Victory did not erase loss. It only proved that the loss had not been in vain. General Williams approached. He looked tired, old. The battle had aged him years and hours. "We did it," he said quietly. "We actually did it. Earth survived. Humanity survived." "Yes," Chen agreed. "But at what cost? 7 million dead, billions traumatized. And now the galaxy knows we exist, knows we can fight, knows we have weapons. Some species will respect that. Others will see it as a challenge. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Everything changes now." Williams nodded slowly. He understood. The Calthrex would return to their empire. The survivors would tell their story, and then other species would hear. Earth had defended itself. Earth had won. That message would spread. Some aliens would avoid Earth, would respect human strength, but others would see it as an opportunity, a chance to test themselves against the new warriors, a chance to succeed where the Calthrex failed. "Then we prepare," Williams said. "We build, we train. We make sure that if anyone else tries this, they fail even faster than the Calthrex. We make Earth strong. Strong enough that no one dares attack. Strong enough that we never have to watch our people die again." Chen looked at the tactical display one more time. At the debris, the destroyed ships, the survivors surrendering, at the human vessels standing guard. Victory, but at such a terrible price. "Send a message," she said. "To all nations. To all governments. To everyone. Tell them the Calthrex fleet has been destroyed. Tell them Earth is safe. Tell them we won, but also tell them that this is just the beginning. Tell them we have 30 days to prepare for whatever comes next, because something will come, and we need to be ready." The message went out, across Earth, across the orbital stations, across every communication network. Humanity had won its first battle among the stars. But everyone understood that it was only the first of many. The galaxy had learned about Earth, and Earth had learned about the galaxy. Neither would ever be the same again. "Here is Earth's answer," Chen said. "We are not you. We do not murder prisoners. We do not kill the helpless. We do not broadcast executions as entertainment. We are human, and that means something. Your surviving ships have 2 options. Option 1, surrender unconditionally. Power down all systems. Submit to boarding. Your crew will be taken as prisoners of war and treated according to international law. They will receive medical care, food, water. They will live. Eventually, when your empire understands what happened here, they will be returned." She let that sink in. Mercy. Humanity was offering mercy. After everything the Calthrex had done, Earth was offering survival. Some of the human officers looked shocked. Others looked angry. But they said nothing. Chen was in command. Her decision was final. "Option 2, Chen said, her voice hardening. "Refuse surrender. Attempt to escape. Attempt to fight. If you choose this option, we will destroy you. Completely, without hesitation. Without mercy. You have 5 minutes to decide. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. The command center remained quiet. Officers watched their screens, tracking the 3 surviving ships, waiting to see what the Calthrex would do. Would they surrender? Would they try to run? Would they choose death over capture? "Admiral," General Williams said quietly, "some of our pilots are requesting permission to ignore any surrender. They want to finish this, all of it. They lost family, friends, they want revenge." Chen understood. She felt the same way. Part of her wanted to order the destruction of every Calthrex ship, to make sure none of them survived, to send a message so clear that no species would ever threaten Earth again. But she also understood the consequences. If humanity became the monsters, if they killed prisoners, if they showed no mercy, then they became no different than the Calthrex. And Earth deserved better. The dead deserved better. Tell them no, Chen ordered. If the Calthreks surrender, we accept it. If they resist, we destroy them. But we do not execute prisoners. We are not them. We will never be them. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us worth defending. 2 minutes passed. Then 3. The Calthrek ships remained silent. No communications. No movement. Just drifting in the debris field that had been their fleet. Maybe they were arguing. Maybe they were preparing to run. Maybe they were already dead from life support failure. 4 minutes. Lieutenant Santos positioned her ship for a final attack run. Commander Tanaka reloaded his missile systems. Both of them waited for the order. Ready to finish what they started. Ready to make the Calthreks pay for every human death, but also ready to stand down if ordered. Because they were soldiers, and soldiers followed orders. Even when those orders hurt. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. A transmission came through. Weak, barely readable, but clear enough. This is the Calthreks vessel Honor of the Dominion. We surrender. Unconditionally, our systems are down. We have wounded. We request medical assistance. We accept your terms. Then another transmission. This is the Calthreks vessel Swift Justice. We also surrender. We have casualties. We accept your terms. And a third. This is the Calthreks vessel Eternal Glory. We surrender. We accept your terms. 3 ships. 3 crews. Probably 500 aliens total. Out of the 10,000 that had come to conquer Earth. 95% casualties. The Calthreks fleet had been annihilated. The survivors were broken, defeated, scared. They had come expecting easy prey. They had found apex predators instead. All units, this is Admiral Chen, she broadcast. The Calthreks have surrendered. Stand down from attack operations. Begin recovery procedures. Medical teams, prepare for wounded prisoners. Security forces, prepare for boarding operations. Everyone else, stand by for further orders. This battle is over. Earth has won. The command center erupted in cheers. Officers hugged each other. Some wept with relief. Others simply sat down exhausted. The battle had lasted 6 hours. 6 hours of constant action, of death and destruction, of revenge and justice. 6 hours that had changed everything. Earth had been attacked by a superior force. And Earth had won, but Chen did not cheer. She looked at the tactical display showing the debris field. Hundreds of pieces of destroyed ships, thousands of dead aliens, and somewhere among that debris, pieces of the 7 million humans who had died, the space station, the lunar colony, the Mars settlement. Those deaths had started this, and nothing would bring them back. Victory did not erase loss. It only proved that the loss had not been in vain. General Williams approached. He looked tired, old. The battle had aged him years and hours. We did it, he said quietly. We actually did it. Earth survived. Humanity survived. Yes, Chen agreed. But at what cost? 7 million dead. Billions traumatized. And now the galaxy knows we exist, knows we can fight, knows we have weapons. Some species will respect that. Others will see it as a challenge. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Everything changes now. Williams nodded slowly. He understood. The Calthreks would return to their empire. The survivors would tell their story. And then other species would hear. Earth had defended itself. Earth had won. That message would spread. Some aliens would avoid Earth, would respect human strength, but others would see it as an opportunity, a chance to test themselves against the new warriors, a chance to succeed where the Calthreks failed. Then we prepare, Williams said. We build, we train. We make sure that if anyone else tries this, they fail even faster than the Calthreks. We make Earth strong. Strong enough that no one dares attack. Strong enough that we never have to watch our people die again. Chen looked at the tactical display one more time. At the debris. The destroyed ships. The survivors surrendering. At the human vessels standing guard. Victory. But at such a terrible price. Send a message, she said. To all nations. To all governments. To everyone. Tell them the Calthreks fleet has been destroyed. Tell them Earth is safe. Tell them we won. But also tell them that this is just the beginning. Tell them we have 30 days to prepare for whatever comes next. Because something will come. And we need to be ready. The message went out. Across Earth. Across the orbital stations. Across every communication network. Humanity had won its first battle among the stars. But everyone understood that it was only the first of many. The galaxy had learned about Earth. And Earth had learned about the galaxy. Neither would ever be the same again. The world celebrated. In every city on Earth, people flooded the streets. They waved flags. They sang songs. They embraced strangers. The impossible had happened. Humanity had been threatened with extinction and had survived. More than survived. They had won. The Calthrex fleet that had murdered 7 million humans was destroyed. The alien empire that had called humans vermin was defeated. Earth had proven itself among the stars. But in the halls of power, celebrations were brief. World leaders understood what Admiral Chen understood. This was not the end. It was the beginning. The Calthrex survivors would return to their empire. They would tell their story. And then the galaxy would know. Earth was not defenseless. Earth could fight. Earth had teeth. That knowledge would spread, and it would change everything. 3 weeks after the battle, representatives from the Galactic Council arrived. The Council was an alliance of 47 species that governed trade and diplomacy across this region of space. They had ignored Earth's requests for help when the Calthrex attacked. They had offered no assistance, no weapons, no support. They had watched while 7 million humans died. But now they came. Now they wanted to talk. The meeting took place in Geneva, the United Nations building, the same place where humanity had begged for help that never came. Admiral Chen was there, so were the leaders of every major nation. They sat on one side of a long table. On the other side sat the council representatives, 7 aliens from 7 different species, each one elegant, sophisticated, ancient. Their civilizations had explored space for thousands of years while humans were still learning to make fire. The council speaker was a being called Shahren. She looked almost human except for her blue skin and 3 eyes. She spoke first. Her voice was calm, diplomatic, the voice of someone who had negotiated 1,000 treaties. On behalf of the Galactic Council, we wish to extend our congratulations on your victory over the Calthrex. It was impressive, unexpected. We had believed your species lacked the capacity for such organized resistance. Admiral Chen did not smile. She remembered the broadcasts. The desperate messages sent to the Council begging for intervention. The silence that followed. 7 million humans had died while the Council watched and did nothing. Thank you, she said coldly. Though we could have used your congratulations 3 weeks ago, when we needed help, when our colonies were being destroyed, when our people were dying. Shahren had the decency to look uncomfortable. The Council has strict policies regarding intervention in conflicts between member species and non-members. The Calthrex are a council member. You were not. We could not take sides without violating our own laws. We deeply regret the loss of life. But we hope you understand our position. Understand? The word came from the Russian president, a hard woman who had led her nation through 3 wars. You watched children die. You did nothing. Now you come here with regrets? You can keep your regrets. Tell us why you are really here. What do you want? The other council members shifted in their seats. They were not used to being spoken to this way. Most species that met the council were eager, grateful, honored to be noticed by ancient civilizations. But Earth was different. Earth had been ignored when it needed help. Earth had fought alone, and Earth had won. That changed the dynamic. That changed everything. Very well, Shahren said. We will be direct. The Council is prepared to offer Earth Associate membership. You would gain access to galactic trade routes, scientific knowledge, cultural exchange, technology sharing, protection from future attacks, all the benefits of being part of the galactic community. In return, you would agree to Council laws, Council oversight, Council authority over your military capabilities. The room fell silent. Every human leader understood what was being offered and what was being asked. The Council wanted to control Earth, to limit human weapons, to make sure that what happened to the Calthrex never happened to anyone else. They were afraid of a species that could go from spaceflight to destroying an alien fleet in 70 years, afraid of what humans might do next. The Chinese premier spoke. His voice was measured, careful. You want us to disarm, to give you control over our military, to trust that you will protect us. But where were you when we needed protection? Where was the Council when the Calthrex murdered our people? You were watching, observing, doing nothing. And now you want us to trust you with our survival? Another council member spoke. A being that looked like a mantis made of crystal. Its voice clicked and hummed. A translator converted the sounds to words. You must understand our concern. Your species defeated the Calthrex using primitive technology, crude weapons, nuclear devices that we abandoned millennia ago, kinetic projectiles that most civilizations consider obsolete. Yet you won. That means you are dangerous, unpredictable. If we do not guide you, if we do not control you, you could become a threat to the entire galaxy. Admiral Chen stood. She looked at each council member in turn, studied them. These were beings from civilizations that had existed for thousands of years. They had explored the galaxy, built wonders, created art and culture beyond human imagination. But they were also beings who had watched 7 million humans die and done nothing, who had let children freeze in space, who had ignored desperate pleas for help. And now they wanted control, wanted authority, wanted to make sure humanity never threatened them. Let me make something clear, Chen said. Her voice was ice. Earth will never give up control of its military. Not to you. Not to anyone. We learned a lesson. A hard lesson. We cannot trust others to protect us. We must protect ourselves. The Calthrex taught us that. Your inaction taught us that. So here is Earth's answer to your offer. No. The council members looked shocked. Species did not refuse the council. The benefits were too great. The protection too valuable. Only fools rejected council membership. But Chen was not finished. She pulled up a holographic display. It showed Earth's orbital space. And it showed something else, something the council had not expected. This is what we built in 3 weeks, Chen said. The display showed satellites. Hundreds of them. Weapons platforms. Kinetic systems. EMP generators. Nuclear missile satellites. All of them armed. All of them operational. All of them under Earth's control. We also have ships under construction. Warships. Not converted cargo vessels. Not hastily armed shuttles. Real military spacecraft designed to fight. Designed to win. She changed the display. It showed factories, shipyards, manufacturing centers. All of them working at full capacity. Every nation on Earth is contributing. Every factory. Every resource. Every scientist. We are building a defense fleet. Not just to defend against the Calthrex, but to defend against anyone. We will never again watch our people die while we beg for help that does not come. Sharon stood. Her 3 eyes narrowed. You are making a mistake. The galaxy is vast. There are threats you cannot imagine. Species that make the Calthrex look peaceful. Without council protection, you will not survive. You need us, maybe, Chen agreed. But we do not need your control. Here is what Earth will accept. Trade relations. Cultural exchange. Scientific cooperation. Friendship with species that want friendship. But Earth remains independent. Earth keeps its weapons. Earth makes its own decisions. If you want to help, help. If you want to trade, trade. But do not ask us to give up our sovereignty. That is not negotiable. The meeting ended badly. The council representatives left angry. They had expected gratitude. They had expected Earth to be desperate for their help. Instead, they found a species that refused to submit. A species that had tasted victory and wanted more. A species that would rather fight alone than accept control. The council did not understand humans. But they would learn. Everyone would learn. 2 months after the battle, Earth launched its first true warship. They named it the UESS Retribution. It was not the biggest ship ever built. Not the most advanced. But it was designed for one purpose, war. It had weapons derived from Project Damocles. Shields based on captured Calthrex technology, engines that could outrun anything the Council had, and a crew of humans who had all lost someone to the Calthrex attack. Lieutenant Maria Santos was its captain. She had proven herself in the battle, had destroyed 6 Calthrex ships single-handedly, had volunteered for every dangerous mission. Now she commanded Earth's first dedicated warship. It was an honor, but also a burden. She represented humanity among the stars, and she would make sure the galaxy understood. Earth was not prey. Earth was not weak. Earth would fight anyone who threatened it. The launch ceremony was broadcast worldwide. Every human watched as the Retribution left Earth orbit. Headed for deep space, headed for the unknown. Admiral Chen gave the send-off speech. This ship represents humanity's future. We are not hiding. We are not cowering. We are exploring, trading, learning, but we are also ready. Ready to defend ourselves. Ready to fight if necessary. The galaxy has seen what humans can do when threatened. Now they will see what humans can do when given time to prepare. The Retribution's first mission was to visit the nearest inhabited system, A world called Velkara Prime. It was a council member world. Peaceful. Civilized. They had sent messages of friendship to Earth after the battle. Now humanity would respond in person. The journey took 3 weeks using the faster-than-light drive that human scientists had reverse-engineered from the Roswell crash. When the retribution arrived, the Velkarans greeted them with ceremony, with respect. They had watched the battle footage that Earth had broadcast. They had seen how humans fought, how humans won. They understood that this new species was not to be trifled with. The Velkaran president met with Captain Santos personally. They discussed trade, science, culture, but also defense. The Velkarans wanted to know if Earth would consider mutual defense pacts, alliance agreements, partnership. "We are interested," Santos told them, "but understand this. Earth does not submit to anyone. We are equal partners or we are nothing. We will help you if you need it. But we expect the same. When the Calthrex attacked us, no one helped. That will not happen again. If we are allies, we stand together. Or we are not allies at all." The Velkarans agreed. They became Earth's first true alien allies. Other species followed. Small nations, independent worlds, species that the Council ignored or controlled. They saw in Earth something different. A species that refused to bow, that fought for itself, that demanded respect rather than begging for it. One by one, they made agreements with humanity. Trade deals, technology exchanges, defense pacts. Earth was building a coalition, an alternative to Council control. And the Council was worried. 6 months after the battle, the Calthrex Empire sent a delegation, not to attack, to negotiate. They wanted their prisoners back. The 500 survivors who had surrendered. Earth had treated them well. Medical care, food, decent conditions. But they were still prisoners. The Calthrex wanted them home, and they were willing to pay. The negotiations took place on neutral ground. A council station halfway between Earth and Calthrex space. Admiral Chen led the human delegation. The Calthrex sent their high command, 10 military leaders, generals who had conquered dozens of worlds, who had destroyed entire civilizations. They looked at Chen with hatred, with rage, but also with fear. She had defeated them. She had destroyed their fleet. She had proven that the Calthrex were not invincible. "We want our people back," the Calthrex Supreme General said. His name was Thakmor. He was ancient, scarred, a veteran of 100 wars. "Name your price, technology, resources, territory, whatever you want. Just return our soldiers," Chen studied him. This being had probably ordered the deaths of millions, maybe billions. He had built an empire on conquest, on fear, on the belief that the Calthrex were superior to everyone else. And now he was begging, not with words, but with actions. He needed those prisoners back, needed to show his empire that he could still succeed, that he was still in control. "Here are our terms," Chen said. "First, you will pay reparations for every human killed, 7 million lives. We want compensation for their families, for the rebuilding of our colonies, for the cost of our defense. The total is 10 trillion credits, non-negotiable. Second, the Calthrex Empire will recognize Earth's sovereignty. You will sign a non-aggression treaty. You will never enter our space without permission. You will never threaten Earth again. Third, you will share intelligence about other threats, about other species that might attack us. You will help us prepare. Those are the terms. Accept them or the prisoners stay." Thakmor looked like he wanted to refuse, to argue, to fight. But he could not. Earth held his people. Earth had destroyed his fleet. Earth had won. He had no leverage, no power, only desperation. "Agreed," he said quietly. The words seemed to hurt him physically. "We will pay. We will sign. We will comply. Just return our people." "One more thing," Chen added. "Ambassador Velkoth, the one who ordered the attack, the one who broadcast our deaths for entertainment. Where is he?" Thakmor's face hardened. "He is among the prisoners. You know this." "He stays," Chen said flatly. "Everyone else can go. But Velkoth remains on Earth. He will face trial for war crimes, for murder, for genocide. He will answer for what he did. That is not negotiable. He is a high-ranking official, a member of our government. You cannot keep him." "Watch us," Chen replied. "He ordered the deaths of 7 million humans. He laughed about it. He broadcast their executions. He threatened to destroy our entire species. He is a war criminal, and he will be tried as one. That is Earth's justice. If you want your other people back, you will accept it. Thakmor sat in silence for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Agreed, Velkoth stays. The others return. We will pay. We will sign. We will comply with all your terms. The treaty was signed 3 days later. The Calthrex paid their reparations. They recognized Earth's sovereignty. They shared intelligence about other threats, and they took their prisoners home. All except Velkoth. He remained on Earth, in a cell, waiting for trial, waiting for justice. The trial was broadcast across the galaxy. Every species watched. Earth presented its evidence. The footage of the attacks, the testimonies of survivors, the records of Velkoth's orders. The ambassador tried to defend himself, claimed he was following orders, claimed the attack was justified, claimed humans were not really people, not really deserving of rights. The jury of human judges listened. Then they convicted him. Guilty on all counts, 7 million counts of murder, genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity. The sentence was life imprisonment. No parole, no appeal. Velkoth would spend the rest of his long life in a cell, thinking about what he had done, about the humans he had killed, about the empire he had weakened. 1 year after the battle, Earth had changed completely. The orbital space was filled with weapons platforms, defense satellites, patrol ships. The surface had factories working day and night, building ships, building weapons, building the infrastructure of a military power. Every nation contributed. The old hatreds had not disappeared. Humans still argued, still competed, still disagreed, but they did it while building ships together, while training soldiers together, while preparing for the next threat together. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of a new ship, the UESS Defiance, bigger than the Retribution, more powerful, more advanced. It was the flagship of Earth's growing fleet. She looked out the window at the stars, at the infinite darkness filled with unknown threats, unknown opportunities, unknown futures. Earth had survived its first contact with hostile aliens, had won its first war among the stars, but she knew this was just the beginning. There would be more threats, more battles, more tests of human resolve. Status report, she ordered. The bridge crew responded instantly. All systems operational. Fleet reports ready. We are prepared for departure. Good, Chen said. Then let us begin. Earth has proven it can defend itself. Now we prove we can explore, trade, build alliances. Show the galaxy that humans are not just warriors. We are also explorers, scientists, artists, diplomats. We are everything the Calthrex said we were not. Set course for the frontier. Let us see what else is out there. And let us make sure everyone knows. Earth is not afraid. Earth is ready. Earth will never again watch its children die. The Defiance powered up its engines. The crew took their positions, and Earth's flagship jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading for the unknown, heading for the future. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. Now it was time to see where that place would lead. 5 years after the Calthrex attack, Earth had become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. Not a passive species waiting for protection, not a primitive culture struggling to understand the cosmos, but a power, a force, a nation among the stars that demanded respect and received it. The transformation had been total, complete, irreversible. Earth's fleet now numbered 300 ships. Some were massive carriers that could deploy fighter squadrons. Others were fast destroyers built for patrol and reconnaissance. There were cruisers armed with weapons that made the Calthrex fleet look primitive, research vessels that explored distant systems, medical ships that offered aid to species in need, cargo vessels that carried trade goods across dozens of worlds. Every ship flew the flag of Earth, every crew was human, and every captain knew their mission. Protect humanity, explore the galaxy, never let anyone forget what happened when you threatened Earth. Captain Maria Santos now commanded the UESS Vengeance. It was the newest ship in the fleet, the most advanced. Built with technology that combined human innovation with alien science, it had shields that could withstand sustained bombardment, weapons that could crack a planet's crust, engines that could outrun anything in known space, and a crew of 500 humans who had all volunteered for the most dangerous missions. Today, the Vengeance was on patrol near the frontier, the edge of known space where new species were still being discovered, where pirates operated, where threats lurked. The ship's sensors detected a distress signal. It was faint, distant, but clear. Someone was calling for help. Santos ordered her crew to investigate. That was what Earth's ships did now. They helped. They protected. They showed the galaxy that humans were not just destroyers. They were also guardians. The Vengeance dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the source of the signal. What they found was a massacre. 3 civilian ships floating dead in space. Their hulls were torn open. Their crews dead. Around them circled 4 warships. Pirates. They were Calthrex. Not military vessels, but criminals. Outcasts from the Empire who had turned to raiding. They were attacking another civilian ship. Trying to board it. Trying to steal its cargo and kill its crew. All hands to battle stations, Santos ordered. Her voice was ice. 5 years had not softened her hatred of the Calthrex. Had not made her forget her family dying on Mars. Had not erased the memory of watching the domes shatter. Weapons hot. Shields up. Let us remind these creatures why their empire fears us. The Vengeance's appearance changed everything. The pirate ships detected the human vessel immediately. They knew what it was. Everyone knew about Earth's ships now. Everyone knew about Earth's weapons. The pirates tried to run, tried to escape. But they were too slow, too late. Santos had already calculated their trajectories, already targeted their engines, already prepared to fire. This is Captain Santos of the UESS Vengeance. You are attacking civilians. You are committing piracy. You have 10 seconds to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you. The choice is yours. One pirate ship tried to fire. Its weapons locked onto the Vengeance. That was a mistake. Santos did not wait, did not hesitate. The Vengeance's main guns fired. Particle beams crossed the distance in microseconds. They hit the pirate ship's reactor. The ship exploded, became a brief star, then became nothing, just debris tumbling through space. The other 3 ships surrendered immediately. Powered down, waited for boarding. Santos sent teams to secure them, to arrest their crews, to save the civilians they had been attacking. The rescued species was called the Meridian, a peaceful culture of traders and explorers. They had no military, no weapons. They relied on the Galactic Council for protection. But the Council patrols had not arrived. Earth had arrived instead. The Meridian captain thanked Santos personally. She was a small being with 4 arms and kind eyes. You saved us. We thought we would die. The Council ships were hours away. You arrived in minutes. How did you know we needed help? We patrol these regions, Santos explained. We monitor distress signals. We help when we can. That is what Earth's fleet does. We remember what it was like to need help and receive nothing. We will not let that happen to others. The Meridian captain studied Santos with curiosity. We have heard stories about your species, about the war with the Calthrex, about how you defeated them despite being younger, smaller, less advanced. Some species fear you. They say humans are violent, aggressive, dangerous, but you saved us. You protected civilians. You helped strangers. Why? Santos looked at the damaged civilian ships, at the bodies floating in space, at the survivors who had been minutes from death. Because we can, she said simply. Because someone should. Because the galaxy is dangerous and someone needs to stand between predators and prey. Earth learned that lesson. We almost died learning it, but we survived. And now we make sure others survive too. Not because we want gratitude, not because we want payment, but because it is right. Word of the rescue spread, as did thousands of similar stories. Earth ships helping stranded vessels, defending colonies from raiders, providing medical aid after disasters, trading fairly, sharing technology, building alliances. Humans were everywhere now, on every major world, in every important system. They were diplomats, scientists, traders, teachers, and when necessary, they were warriors. But they were fair warriors, honorable warriors, warriors who fought only when forced, who protected the weak, who punished only the guilty. The Galactic Council watched all of this with mixed feelings. Earth had refused Council membership, had rejected Council authority. But Earth was also solving problems, protecting species that the Council could not protect, stopping threats that the Council ignored. Earth was becoming what the Council was supposed to be, a force for good, a defender of the weak, a guardian of peace, and the Council resented it. But they could do nothing. Earth was too strong, too popular, too necessary. On Earth itself, life had returned to normal, or as normal as life could be after first contact with aliens. Cities had been rebuilt. The economy had adapted. People went to work, raised families, lived their lives. But everything was different now. Every child learned about the Calthrex attack in school. Every adult remembered where they were when the broadcast happened. Every person on Earth understood that the universe was dangerous. That peace required strength. That survival was not guaranteed. In Geneva, a memorial had been built. It was a wall of black stone. 7 million names were carved into it. Every person who died in the Calthrex attack. Scientists from the space station. Families from the lunar colony. Children from Mars, all of them remembered. All of them honored. The memorial was visited by millions every year. People came to remember, to mourn, to promise that those deaths would never be forgotten, would never be in vain. Above the memorial was an inscription, simple words that captured everything Earth had learned, everything humanity had become. The words read, "They thought we were prey. They learned we were predators. Never again." Admiral Sarah Chen retired after 5 years of service. She had led Earth through its darkest hour, had commanded the defense that saved humanity, had negotiated treaties that brought Earth respect. Now she was tired, old, ready to rest. She gave her final speech at the memorial. Thousands attended. Millions watched on broadcast. She spoke about the past, about the present, about the future. 5 years ago, we faced extinction, Chen said. Her voice was strong despite her age. 7 million humans died while we watched helplessly. The Calthrex thought that would break us, thought we would surrender, thought we were weak. They were wrong. We fought, we won, and we changed. We became stronger, smarter, more united. We built a fleet. We made allies. We earned respect. Not through conquest, not through cruelty, but through strength and justice. She paused, looked at the wall of names, at the 7 million dead who had started it all. These people died for no reason. They were murdered to prove a point, to show Earth its place. But their deaths taught us something, taught us that the universe is not kind, that peace requires power, that we must be ready to defend ourselves, always, forever, because no one else will defend us. No one else will protect our children. We stand alone, but we stand strong. She turned to face the crowd, to face the cameras broadcasting to the world, to face humanity. We have built something remarkable in 5 years. A fleet that protects us, alliances that support us, a reputation that commands respect. But we cannot stop, cannot rest, cannot assume we are safe. There are threats we have not met yet, species we have not discovered, wars we have not fought. Earth must always be ready, always be strong, always be willing to fight for its survival. Her final words echoed across the memorial, across Earth, across human space. The Calthrex attacked us because they thought we were weak. They died because they were wrong. Let that be a lesson to everyone. To every species in the galaxy, Earth does not start fights. We seek peace. We offer friendship. We help those in need. But if you threaten us, if you hurt our people, if you make us your enemy, you will learn what the Calthrex learned. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not forgive. Humans do not forget. And humans always, always win. The crowd erupted in applause. But Chen did not smile, did not celebrate. She looked at the memorial one last time, at the names of the dead, at the price of Earth's survival. Then she walked away. Her part was done. The next generation would carry on, would protect Earth, would make sure the 7 million did not die in vain. Far from Earth, in deep space, something was stirring. A species that had been watching, waiting. They had seen the Calthrex attack, had seen Earth's response, had studied human tactics, human weapons, human psychology. They were older than the Calthrex, more advanced than the Council, more dangerous than anything humanity had encountered. And they were curious about this young species that had survived, that had won, that had refused to submit. Their scouts approached Earth's territory, probed the defenses, tested the responses. Human ships detected them, challenged them, asked for identification. The scouts did not answer, did not attack, just watched, just learned. Then they left, returned to their home space, reported what they had found, and their leaders made a decision not to attack, not to test, but to respect. These humans were dangerous, unpredictable, strong. Better to leave them alone, better to find easier prey, better to remember the lesson of the Calthrex. Do not attack Earth unless you are ready to die trying. But not all species learned that lesson. 10 years after the Calthrex attack, another empire tried. They were called the Jitor Collective, a massive alliance of insectoid species. They had conquered half their galaxy, enslaved dozens of civilizations, and they saw Earth as their next target. They came with 1,000 ships. They came with weapons designed to destroy planets. They came expecting victory. Earth had grown in 10 years. The fleet was now 2,000 ships strong. Every major system had defensive stations. Every colony had weapons. Every human had learned to fight. The Jitor attacked expecting weak resistance. They found a fortress. They found a species that had spent a decade preparing for this exact moment. They found humans. The war lasted 3 months. 3 months of brutal space combat, of planetary invasions, of desperate defenses. The Jitor were strong, advanced, numerous. But humans were angry, experienced, determined. Every battle was fought with tactics learned from the Calthrex War. Every weapon was designed to kill aliens who thought they were superior. Every soldier fought with the memory of 7 million dead. And when it was over, the Jitor Collective surrendered. Completely. Totally. They had lost half their fleet, lost their forward bases, lost their confidence. They learned what the Calthrex learned, what every species that threatened Earth learned. Humans fight back. After that, attacks on Earth became rare, then non-existent. The galaxy had learned. Earth was not prey. Earth was not weak. Earth was dangerous. Species that wanted friendship received it. Species that wanted trade received it. Species that wanted help received it. But species that wanted conquest, they received only death. Quick, efficient, merciless. 20 years after the Calthrex attack, Earth was one of the major powers in the galaxy, not through conquest, not through slavery, but through strength and principle. Human ships patrolled trade routes. Human diplomats negotiated treaties. Human scientists shared discoveries. Human doctors healed the sick. Human teachers educated the young. And human soldiers protected everyone. They were the guardians, the defenders, the ones who stood between chaos and civilization. The memorial in Geneva had expanded. New names had been added. Humans who died defending others, protecting colonies, fighting pirates, exploring dangerous regions. Each name represented a life given in service, a sacrifice made for others. The inscription remained the same. They thought we were prey. They learned we were predators. Never again. But below it, a new inscription had been added, words that captured what Earth had become, what humanity represented. We fight not because we hate what is in front of us, but because we love what is behind us. We protect not because we seek glory, but because someone must. We stand not because we are fearless, but because fear is not enough to make us fall. We are human, and that means something. In deep space, human exploration vessels pushed the boundaries of known territory, finding new worlds, new species, new opportunities. And whenever they found intelligent life, they delivered the same message. Earth comes in peace. Earth offers friendship. Earth will trade fairly and honestly. But Earth also has teeth. Earth can fight. Earth will fight if forced. Choose wisely. Most species chose peace, chose friendship, chose to work with humanity rather than against it. They saw what happened to the Calthrex, to the Jitor, to every species that made Earth an enemy. They learned the lesson, and they prospered from it, because humans made good allies, fair trading partners, helpful friends, as long as you did not threaten them, as long as you did not hurt their people, as long as you remembered what they had become. The Galactic Council eventually asked Earth to join, not as an associate member, but as a full member, with voting rights, with authority, with respect. The vote was debated for months. Some humans wanted to join, to work within the system, to change it from inside. Others wanted to remain independent, to keep Earth's freedom, to maintain sovereignty. In the end, Earth joined, but on its own terms. Earth kept its military, kept its weapons, kept its right to defend itself. The Council accepted these terms because they had no choice, because Earth was too strong, too important, too necessary, and because everyone remembered what happened when you tried to control humanity, when you tried to make them submit, when you forgot that humans had teeth. 50 years after the Calthrex attack, the last survivor of that day passed away. She had been a child on Mars, had watched her parents die, had survived in a shelter for 4 days before rescue came. She lived her entire life remembering, telling her story, making sure no one forgot. When she died, millions attended her funeral. Not just humans, but aliens too, species from across the galaxy who had learned to respect Earth, to respect humanity, to remember why. At her funeral, a young human girl asked a question. She was 7 years old, the same age as the survivor had been when Mars fell. She looked at the memorial with its 7 million names. She looked at her grandmother who had fought in the war. She looked at the stars above, and she asked a simple question: will they ever attack us again? Her grandmother looked down at her, old eyes meeting young ones, the eyes of someone who had killed aliens to protect her family, who had watched friends die, who had built a civilization on the ruins of innocence. Maybe, she said honestly, the galaxy is dangerous. There are always threats, always predators, always someone who thinks they can take what is ours. But they will learn what everyone else learned. They will learn that Earth does not break, does not surrender, does not die quietly. They will learn that humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because we are strong, not because we are advanced, but because we never ever give up. The girl considered this. Then she smiled. A child's smile, innocent, hopeful, brave. Good, she said, because I am going to be a ship captain when I grow up, and I am going to protect everyone, just like you did. Her grandmother hugged her, felt tears on her cheeks. Tears for the past. For the dead. For the innocence that had been lost, but also tears of pride. Because this was what the 7 million had died for. Not for revenge. Not for victory. But for this moment. For this child. For the future she represented. For the humanity that would continue. That would grow. That would protect itself. That would never again watch its people die without fighting back. Above Earth, the fleet stood watch. 2,000 ships and growing. Each one a promise. Each one a threat. Each one a reminder that humanity had learned its lesson. That Earth would never be vulnerable again. That anyone who tried would pay the price. The Calthrex had taught humanity that lesson. Had paid for it with their fleet. With their pride. With their confidence, and that lesson echoed across the galaxy. Whispered among species. Taught to new civilizations. Remembered by old empires. A simple lesson. A clear lesson. A lesson written in the debris of destroyed fleets and the graves of dead invaders. A lesson that would last forever. Do not attack Earth, because humans remember. Humans adapt. Humans fight, and humans always win.